Hey guys, Telegram Sam here. Today I have my lovely, amazing, beautiful mother with me today. She came all the way from Washington to come visit me in Portland. I definitely owe my love for music from my mom. We were constantly listening to music. There was no such thing as silence in our house. Constantly being dragged to concerts since I was in the womb. But yeah, I thought I would ask her a couple of questions first. So, since you, sorry to reveal your age, but you were born in 1968.
Yeah, best year of muscle cars, good years of rock and roll,
Yeah.
rebellion, real,
Yeah.
real peace revolution.
Mm-hmm. So you grew up seeing the coming and going of vinyl, 8 tracks, cassettes, CDs,
Yes.
YouTube now, streaming, Spotify, and now there's this new resurgence of vinyl, like with people like me and older people kind of rediscovering their love of vinyl. So why do you think vinyl is so prevalent and people are still coming back to it?
I think it's a lot like the situation you had with e-readers versus a book. You can compact it, you can make it portable, but as with records, it's the full experience. It's the reading of the jacket, it's the listening to the album either for the first time or the 50th time, going through the acknowledgments,
The credits,
the
people who
credits.
played on it.
When I would buy an album, and my girlfriends and I would go down to Tower on Lower Queen Anne, growing up in Seattle, that was the go-to record place, or Peaches, or Silver Platters. It was a 2-hour experience. You saved your money to go, and then you would go and get an album, and it was the whole experience. It was taking it home, unwrapping it, listening to it, and just digesting the whole thing, the cover, the artwork, all of it. And so it's kind of like people who love books. Yeah, and e-reader's great. You can take it with you, but it's not the same. It's not the smell. It's not the touch. It's not the
Flipping the pages.
yeah. It's just not the thing. And so I think that although we've gone through this digital revolution, and you've had your compact discs and everything, you can't get that same experience, I don't think. And for me, what I used to do this is silly, but I would take the Pioneer speakers and I would pull them away and turn them in, and I would lay on the floor with a stack of pillows, and I'd put my album on, and I would just kind of melt into the album and the music.
Forget
This,
about life.
yeah, this was without drugs. I mean, don't get me wrong, I took plenty. I've dabbled the entire rainbow, but this was when I was first getting into it, and like stealing my older sister's albums and putting on like Heart, like magazine, and having to listen to it before she got home and beat me up for touching her albums, or Sticky Fingers for the first time, the Rolling Stones,
Which
the
I
Who.
have right there.
Yeah, and Pink Floyd. Okay, so like Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah.
And then growing up, by the Seattle Center, we could go to laser shows. And then going to see the laser show at midnight and doing Dark Side of the Moon after having to listen to my sister's album. You just can't, I don't know. For me, I agree. I see where it's coming back around. It's just a thing. It's going to the record store and flipping through the albums. And
Yeah, it's like the whole process of it. Because as someone who was born in the 90s and grew up with CDs for a short period of time, and then instantly was thrown into YouTube and streaming and downloading and all of that stuff, you lose the really finding out the artists and the musicians and where it was produced, why it was produced, looking at the song lyrics, and I think just the process of, like you said, going to the record store, looking at the vinyl, seeing what songs are on it, if your favorite song's on it, and then taking it home, taking out the outer sleeve and taking the record out and putting it on the turntable and putting the needle on. It's like the whole process, I
and the
think,
crackling and
is the addictive part of it. And plus, the sound quality is just better than, CDs, cassettes, and streaming.
Yeah, I get everything had its place and its time. Coming out of vinyl and then cassettes, that was easy because being coming into my teenage years in the 80s and going through that whole thing, just being able to have a boombox. Yes, the boombox. Yeah, everybody had them. Having the boombox, taking your like 6 cassettes with you, it was easy. Throw them in your purse, whatever. You got your boombox. You're going down to the beach for the day or wherever, Alki, whatever, and that had its place. But then being at a party, when we were at the keggers and stuff at people's houses, it was a stack of vinyl. It was put it on, and we'd all go through, like we'd have our Rush on, and it was interesting how the DJ would kind of run the feel of the party through the albums you were playing.
Right.
So like, AC/DC would come out early to get everybody pumped up, and we're drinking and stuff. And then, as the night went on, you got a little bit more mellow, maybe some Led Zeppelin and Trail in, some Rush,
Right.
just some other stuff. And that was kind of fun, building a party around the album selection. Yeah. DJ.
And then, obviously your mom was also kind of like into jazz and, the 60s singers, and you were raised on that. But what was the first musician or artist? For me, Nirvana was the big one where that turned me from hearing music to actually listening to music and wanting to know more about that band and other bands that inspired him, and kind of grew my love for music. So what was that artist for you that really changed things? And you're like, I like this. This is all mine. This is something I love.
Well, it's kind of hard because...
Or that got you into music.
I was always into music. Music was way more prevalent than TV. Like you said, my mom, she had a broad taste. It was a lot of R&B, jazz. She was married to a jazz musician for some years. And so you had that. And then I had my sister's influences. And then I had the stuff that started rolling in on me. I was a rock chick. I had the leather jacket. I had the Pat Benatar, Joan Jett hair. I mean, I think I'm on the wall back here somewhere with that do. But so my thing was diving into the rock and roll. I am a Rush freak. I am not ashamed of it. I love Rush. I love everything about it. I love the way the songs are put together. I love Neil's lyrics.
And how 3 members can create this orchestral sound. It's just insane.
I mean, I know that as time went on, they started getting the props they deserve. But everybody knows by now that early on in their career, Rush was just kind of this thing that got thrown in, and the music industry didn't really kind of tap into them and give them what they needed.
Yeah, because
they didn't have the support, for the most part. But Rush was huge. I got into them early and deep, but I was a rock chick. So Scorpions, early Judas Priest, Motley Crue. I mean, when Crue hit the scene, when I was at the height of the 80s.
That whole glam rock Sunset Strip.
Forget about it. I was LA Guns, I was Crue, I was all of that.
Did you do the full Aquanet?
Oh, hell no. We used to throw water on girls that had that shit.
You're too cool for that.
Yeah, no, we were rock chicks through and through. I had the Marlboros in the inner pocket. I had the lighter. Rebel rock chicks is what we were. And so, Joan Jett was huge. Pat Benatar, forget about it. A woman screamer.
Yeah.
Come on. We used to clean houses with Pat Benatar albums on and just rock out and make some extra scratch, to fuel our party. But, never mind all that.
You gotta work hard to play hard.
Yeah. Play hard we did. It was the 80s.
And so I gave my mom the prompts yesterday that if I got her a record player and I said, like, you can go through my record collection and pick 5 or 10 records. And so she picks some out.
That was hard.
She picks them out, and we're gonna go through them. She picked about 10 records.
Just random. I'm sorry. It's not going to make any sense to anybody out there, but it's just stuff that.
And there is a lot of stuff that I know you in my collection that you don't really know. So this is kind of just stuff that are favorites of yours. And we're just gonna go through them. And if you have anything to say
and
about
we should
them.
start out with this because this is how you became you.
Yeah. So this is Sammy Hagar's Danger Zone.
Yeah. Red Rocker for sure. Come on, Red.
So
her namesake.
Yeah. So you were 8 months pregnant with me when you went to go see him play.
Yeah. It was in August because when's your birthday?
September. You should know this.
I do, really. The 80s were rough. Calm down. So, yeah, it was August. It was at the Gorge. Mm-hmm. Her dad and I and my best friend and, so, a crew went to the Gorge to go watch Hagar. And I believe that was with the Wabaritas. This was after Van Hagar. Mm. This was in the Wabaritas, and I think we went out there. And we hadn't picked a name. We knew what you were. We knew it was a girl. Hadn't picked a name. Really perplexed. Knew she was going to be a Virgo, as with everybody else in my life. So it had to be a unique situation. I wanted a Tony with an I. Stuff like that. I wanted Harley.
Harley would have been cool.
I wanted Harley, and your dad was like, no, we're not naming her after a motorcycle. I said, you realize that's a name too. But okay, so we skipped all that, and then she was born on the 13th in room 13th, which is Sammy's birthday, and we're all redheads from years back, Montrose, all of that.
And wasn't I born with really...
And you popped out with beautiful blonde curly hair. And at the concert, my best friend, I call her my wife, my partner in crime, ride or die since we were 6.
Yeah.
She was like, what about Sam? What about Sammy? She's like, that would be awesome. Samantha, Sammy, Sam. And I was like, we're mulling it over, and my husband, he's like a diehard Van Halen, Sammy fan too, so he's like, yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad at all. So then when she came out on the 13th in room 13, and came out with a full head of curls, we were like...
It's an omen of so many.
It is. That's the deal. She's Sam.
Harley would have been cool, though.
I know. I was gunning for Harley. Totally got shot down.
I grew up with going to school with so many Samanthas. Like, literally in every class I was in. Like, that was the most popular name of the 90s.
Sorry. But just default to Sammy. Just know that that's where it's at. You're not a Samantha.
Oh, I've never gone by Samantha.
It's always Sam or Samala or,
Sammy Jean Greenbean.
Sammy Jean Greenbean. Whatever.
Next, we got Talking Heads 77.
Okay, I'm sorry. If you don't love the Talking Heads at some point in your life...
No matter how big of a metalhead you are or how cool you think you are.
No. Come on.
Psycho Killer is one of the greatest opening bass lines.
Oh, there's so many good Talking Heads. So many good live shows. Instead of a Deadhead, I'm a Talking Heads head. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could gypsy van around. In the heyday with that.
This was kind of their earlier art punk new wave stuff, but you really love their 80s kind of pop.
Yeah, just a lot of it. Yeah, it's all good. Thank you, Talking Heads, always.
Next we got Rod Stewart. Every Picture Tells a Story.
Faces and Rod and Ronnie Wood and all of that. I mean, god damn.
I named my cat Maggie after the song Maggie made.
And he's, doesn't help that he's sexy as hell when he was younger.
Didn't you date a guy that looked exactly like Rod Stewart?
I did, for that exact reason. But he was so pretty that it was hard.
Yeah.
Because it took longer for him to get ready to go out than it did me. And, I couldn't. I tried blondes twice, and both times they were just too pretty. No, 3 times. Yeah, 3. Sorry, I gave it a triple shot. Third time was not a charm. I went back to the smart brunettes and left the dumb blondes behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then next we got one of your all-time favorites, Purple Rain, Prince and the Revolution.
I know people don't judge. Okay, I know I'm all
People
over the
love-
place.
people
I'm all
love
over the
Prince.
place with music, but there's a lot of there's a lot of people who are conflicted. It's a kind of a love-hate thing, or they just like the Purple Rain time. They don't go way back to the beginning
Or
like
even,
I did.
Or even like his 90s, 2000s
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I've got all
Which
of
is
it.
really good, but I never see anyone talk about anything besides this, 1999. And
This was good, but there's a huge vault of Prince, and he's pretty. I don't care. He's pretty.
And I just remember because we had
I love him.
we had the VHS of this movie, and just I remember we would watch it like all the time, and whenever it was on VH1, like when he died, was playing it for like.
I was
every
in
day.
Atlanta when he died. I
Yeah.
was in Atlanta. I was down there for work, and I was there for a 2-week stint. And I just remember coming back from work and dropping everything off in the hotel and turning the news on, and I was just a mess. And he had just played at a place in downtown Atlanta
Yeah, that was the last place.
a
he
week
played
or
at.
two prior.
Yeah.
And I just got in the rental car and drove. I plugged in the address and just I had to drive. I had to be there. I couldn't deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
It wrecked me for months. That was just such a shame. But yeah, Prince, yeah, all about it.
Yeah.
All about it.
And you were 8 months pregnant with me when you were supposed to go see him, or you?
No, I had just had you.
Oh, okay.
And he was at the Gorge, and my girlfriend, my ride or die, my wife, she had Golden Circle tickets at the Gorge.
And you got him.
And you
when?
were like 10 days old, and I was breastfeeding. Sorry, men out there. And I was ready to pack a bag and go. I mean, a road trip, whatever, concert.
It's Prince, it's someone you've been wanting to see for forever.
It's a concert. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm tapping out. Her dad was like, "You are not leaving. She's 10 days old. She's a newborn. You can't just leave and go to this concert. You're breastfeeding." And I was like, "Well, we'll get some formula or whatever." And he put his foot down. I was ready to go. I didn't care. I was like,
Yeah.
"Infant be damned.
I'll
I'm
figure
out."
it out.
Yeah. Call your mom.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm going to a concert. But no, I didn't get to go, and that hurt my heart terribly. But kids first.
I would have ditched me.
Right?
Yeah, I would have sacrificed.
Yeah, you were just a sleeping blob at the time. Who was even going to
Who
miss it?
cares? Okay, next we have Billy Joel, 52nd Street.
Billy Joel. I mean, what can you say?
He's just a classic. I don't,
He is the piano man.
yeah.
My girlfriend and I, again, my wife, partner in crime, ride or die, we would listen to this album in the basement of her house. It was kind of the Queen Anne's houses all had like 3 floors, just about. So the basement was kind of a game room. It had the pool table, foosball, dartboards, and we would go down in the basement and perhaps steal some of her mom's weed, and plug in this and some Beatles, and we'd be down there for hours playing rummy and backgammon and dominoes and yeah, this was I was young.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love the song Big Shot and Rosalia's Eyes.
yeah. There's so many,
Zanzibar.
so many good Joel albums.
And this is actually one of my top 5 favorite all-time albums. And I
Oh.
know you and me both.
Oh,
love this.
come on,
In Excess, Kick.
come on.
This is just such a great album.
God, yeah, just and the greatest hits too.
Yeah.
You get some In Excess on a sunny afternoon, and you need to possibly clean the house or something.
And they're
It's
just
good motivational music. It's good road trip music. It's good
everything. music.
everything music.
And they really knew how to do the whole pop and new wave rock
God,
thing.
yeah, they really had it. Really had it. Had the whole thing together.
Amazing singer, amazing musicians.
Yeah, good
Michael,
front man.
Michael Hutchence does not get thrown in there as one of the greatest singers to come out of the 80s.
No, and just he had that, the swanky.
That like Jim Morrison charisma.
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
Yeah.
So for the 80s, and I was working at a Caribbean restaurant down on the waterfront on Pier 70, And when when their album came out, and Suicide Blonde and all that, I could go upstairs into the bar, and it had the music piped in through the whole restaurant. So I would get there early with like the prep cooks and everything, and we would plug that cassette tape in and just turn the music on and just in excess our way through the morning. That and Joe Walsh's with his band. Why am I going blank?
The Eagles?
No, Joe Walsh and
James Gang?
yes, thank you. Yeah, we had that tape too, and just would rock out. But this was like one of the staples. Summertime mornings,
And
opening the restaurant.
Yeah, and the song "Never Tear Us Apart." I think
Yeah,
is,
and
like,
went
one
and
of
saw
most
them at
beautiful songs.
the Key Arena.
You saw them?
Yeah.
When? For this album tour? Or
This
later?
or in between the two big ones. Yeah,
Ugh.
we went. Yeah, sorry.
I hate you.
I'm sorry.
I was born in the wrong generation.
You really were.
Next, we got another classic, something, I think Tiny Dancer was one of the first songs I ever learned by heart. Elton John's Honky Chateau.
I mean,
You had this,
everything, this man.
Yeah.
Everything.
You had, I remember it was this white album that had this great picture of Elton John on it. And it was just essentially a collection of his greatest hits. And we listened to that so many times. Like, anytime we were in the car, that was like the thing we always listened to.
Always, still, every road trip has Elton John in it.
Yeah, and like some of the first songs I ever memorized were Elton John songs. Tiny
Elton John
Dancer.
and Billy Joel. There, I have something with the piano thing. Just a huge piano person too.
It never gets old, and it's easy
No.
to listen to. You don't really have to think about it. You can just listen to it and just.
And there's lots of different tempos to it. He has up songs. He has slow songs. He has long, drawn out story songs.
Yeah, and like the thing with Elton John, like we were listening to Captain Fantastic, and like that's like a country album, and like this is kind of like an R&B, like honky.
You think it's country?
Yeah, it's like a country album, like a country rock album. And I would classify this as like kind of like a piano R&B honky tonk album. Like he
touches
on like a lot of genres. Like he doesn't just play piano. Like he did like kind of like Benny and the Jets, which is kind of like a funk disco song. Like he doesn't just do piano. He incorporates a lot of stuff into it.
No. But yeah, Elton, it's classic.
And then we got Def Leppard.
Here we go, 80s again, people. Yeah.
Pyromania.
Come on.
I mean,
Who wasn't destroying their jeans and taking sleeves off their their denim jackets and throwing on the patches from the Def Leppard that you got at Tower and ironed them onto your clothing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was huge. That just exploded on the scene, and it was huge. It was a game changer in the 80s. That was when things started spinning around, and you had all these new
Glam rock.
Okay, yeah, but no, I wasn't into all of that glam rock stuff.
But like sort of that power rock of the 80s.
Yeah,
like
Screw
that
Poison.
ballad.
I mean, I'm sorry, there might be Bret Michaels fans and stuff out there. I'm sorry. Yeah, there was just too much crazy hair bands. That was just one right after the other. It was like anybody could walk into any club down in LA and just go, oh, that one, and record companies were just signing as many as they could get their hands on to redo the Motley Crue and the Def Leppard, and it was just a hot mess, and you got a lot of garbage in there, and probably a lot of good bands that never got a chance that probably were better than some of them, a lot of them.
Well, this album when it came out was considered like the first like big power rock.
Right, but British. I mean,
British,
how much the British scene of music is huge. It just all through time, just one right after another. Every decade has, it's British rock. Love it all.
And then next we got Ray Charles doing his thing. This is the first record I ever bought when I was like 11 or 12.
Ray Charles, Al Green, all those guys. Love it. This was huge in my house. My mom was married to a musician, and there was a time where Ray was working doors at clubs downtown, and my mom saw him there a few times. Yeah, when him and Quincy Jones first were back in the area. because Quincy was from here for a little bit out in Bainbridge.
Yeah.
I think it was Bainbridge, yeah.
And that's what I love about you too, is that you just have such a wide array of taste in music. Like, we'll be listening to Motley Crue the next 1 second, and the next second we're listening to Al Green or
Or throwing on some
Talking Heads.
Patsy Cline.
Yeah, Patsy Cline, Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash.
And you weren't, like, Dad was kind of more of like a regular metalhead. Like,
Yeah, he was Iron Maiden. He was Iron Maiden, Judas Priest.
And he thought the Beatles
Dio.
was the worst band in the world. Like, he did not stray from metal, and if you listened to anything other than metal, you weren't a real metalhead.
Yeah.
Well, like, you're like, I don't care, I'll just listen to whatever I like.
Yeah, I had a huge swath of music taste that went around.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up on Queen Anne, I mean, we had ballet and opera too, so did some of that. Did theater, you know, it didn't matter. Musicals, I didn't care.
Just music.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Didn't care.
Just as long as it sounds good.
Yeah.
And then next, last but not least, George Carlin, An Evening with Wally Wanda, featuring Bill Slazo.
So the reason I grabbed this was...
comedy has always been very big in our lives.
Yeah.
Stand-up comedy.
Love comics, love going to clubs, seeing them. But growing up in my house, my mom had Red Fox comedy albums, Carlin, Bill Cosby, there was... Oh, and Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
And so there were some that I could listen to and some that I couldn't. Bill Cosby was more vanilla. The whole Noah one where he's talking to Noah, it's building the ark and stuff, talking to God. That one. She didn't want me to do Carlin because he looked like my dad and they were divorced, so Carlin was out. So of course I'm going to listen to Carlin the second she leaves the house.
Yeah.
And I love him. I know there's people out there that are sensitive because they think that he was unpatriotic because he didn't like the government and blah blah blah, and thought he was this, you know, crazy liberal freak. But he was so smart. He is so smart and
put things in such a way that you never thought about.
You never thought about it,
but it could also make you laugh.
Carlin told you.
Yeah.
Told you about shit and moving with all your crap. I just love this. He was great. He's great.
Yeah.
Love him. Watch everything he has.
I remember, because this was before I even knew who George Carlin was, but I remember when he died, it was sometime around Mother's Day or like Grandma's birthday, because I remember we went over to their house and we were just watching on Comedy Central. They were playing all of George Carlin's stuff.
We went to Steph's, I think.
I don't know, we were at someone's house and I was like, who's this guy that they're watching on, and like you guys were talking about him, and yeah, that was before I even knew who he was, but I love George Carlin.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
I grew up watching all of Eddie Murphy's Delirious, Raw.
I'm an American woman now.
I was so bummed. One of the last times I went to the thrift store, like all of Eddie Murphy's comedy vinyls were there, but they were just all so torn up and just unplayable, and I was just so bummed.
Somebody wore them out. They knew.
Someone loved him.
They knew.
Love
Eddie.
But yeah, that was it. Thank you to my mom for coming to see me and to be on the video with me and talk about, you know, music and
hope it wasn't too boring. Sorry.
Anyways, I'll see you guys in
Maybe next time we'll do a whole grunge thing. I can talk about the whole Seattle scene I grew up in.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, we can do all the grunge, although everybody's already heard it. But I was at the Music Bank.
Yeah.
So.
But
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Have
See you next week. Bye.